Hello, everyone. Hope you all have an awesome Christmas. Welcome back to another episode of City Skylines in the city of Port Waikato. Today, we are continuing on with our residential expansion where we will build a high school and a city hall and also fill up this area. I have just finished the road layout for today's build and I'm currently downgrading some roads to the narrow double lane roads. You can see the control lines. The area is pretty slopey and I'm trying to be respectful of the terrain. To handle these slopes, I generally create steps and use the smoothen tool to then spread the control lines. Some kind of bush or tree cover also helps. First up today, I started working on the high school area. The waterfront area is ideal for this, and I have few ideas to make this an awesome place where the Sims can get educated. I will use the terraforming tools to level the ground around the school. I will extend the area to accommodate any upgrades to this high school. Then I use the soften terrain tool to smooth out the sharper terrain slopes. I quickly realized that the attached sport field is quite big and I had to cut short the road in front of the school. It also looks perfect with the river and the mountain in the background. It's very picturesque. The high school is complete. Next, we will start working to create a small area for some zoning. I mainly extended the narrow road and placed a small roundabout. I really wish I could build a cul-de-sac, but the stock roundabouts don't have zoning around them, and the one-way roads are quite big. There isn't any narrow version of one-way roads, unfortunately. I will also place a large plaza next to the school, which will provide lots of entertainment for the students as well as nearby residents. I have also provided good pedestrian access to the area. With the high school ready, it was time to fill in the rest of the nearby area. As usual, I used pedestrian path to manipulate the zoning and opted for some shops just opposite the large plaza next to the school parking lots. Then I zoned some low residential. I'll keep the zoning depth less towards the slope. Then I used the in-game forest brush to plant some oak trees. When these trees grow, it should provide the cover I need to hide the slopes. Even in real life, you will ideally find lots of vegetation on slopes, and this is mainly to avoid soil erosion and landslides. On the bigger two-lane road, I zoned some more residential. But looking at the way they spawned, I reduced the zoning depth to 4 units. On the other side of the road, I zoned some townhouses. This is to slowly transition into more denser looking areas as we head further away from the waterfront. Moving on to the area for the city hall. I want this to be the center of attraction for this area. I quickly grabbed the city hall, turned off road snapping, and lined it up at the center of this area. I then quickly upgraded the city hall with city planning office and a city code. The city hall provides lower loan interests, lower import costs, lower building cost levels, and lower crime rate. So this is a nice addition to our city. With the building snap turned on, I wrapped the building with a narrow two-lane road. I placed a couple of parkings on one side, and on the other side we will have low density offices. This will provide the nearby educated residents a place to work. Then I moved to fulfill the residential demand, and that's a good sign, yeah. Anyways, Then I zoned some offices next to the city hall and decorated the area with some trees. With the city hall completed, I will now move on to fill the rest of the area. Moving on, next I moved to the city hall area where I used pedestrian paths again and zoned few offices. And for the rest of the area, I used prop lining tool to line them up with some trees to provide some greenery to the area, and also sort of create a green boundary between the city hall area and the rest of the zoning. So the city hall area is complete, and you can see it looks really good. And with more zoning around, I'm sure the area would look better when it is complete. Behind the city hall area, I started zoning few medium density residential buildings just to fulfill the demands. So coming up is a time lapse of the residential zoning I did around the area. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. With all the residents moving in, we have a huge demand for some industries where they can work. I simply extended the grid and zoned more industries. That should be enough for now. Coming back to the residential expansion, I zoned few low residential again. terrain here is quite tricky, so I waited for all the buildings to finish construction and see how they looked. You can see the slope here. Yeah, so I ended up deleting them and cut the zoning back by a couple of blocks. And I had to do it for both ends of the road, and then use terraforming to sort of slope it better in the middle around the gap. And then using the tree brush, I just placed some trees in there. Once the trees grow, the slope should look better. Next, I moved on to some general decoration. I placed a path in the middle of all the zonings. I also placed a line of trees along the main road to sort of provide some privacy to the residential buildings and also safeguard them from noise. In front of the city hall, next to the shops, I zoned townhouses. Again, using the pedestrian paths to manipulate the zoning orientations. Then I moved to the back of the city hall, where we have our commercial and office center. This is the center of commerce for this part of the city. I zoned few mixed residential buildings and heaps of offices and shops. And with that, winter has arrived in our beautiful growing city. Next, I placed a police station on the main arterial and zoned few shops as the road moves out of this area. Let's go into a quick time lapse as I zone few more townhouses and finish up the commercial area. Next, I started working on a medical clinic area. I placed a medical clinic. Then I used a narrow two-lane road to create an internal road and placed an additional parking right next to the medical clinic. Right opposite the medical clinic, I extended another narrow two-lane road to create an inner subdivision. This would suit a small, low residential pocket just behind the shops, especially with the demand being there. Once the outside zoning is complete, I use terraforming tool to extend the flat area and use slope tool to make a more realistic terrain drop. I then extended the road to create another entry point to this area and zoned few more low residential houses along with a custom garden. So that brings us to the end of this episode. Next up is the cinematics of today's build. Again, hope you all have had an awesome Christmas and New Year. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel and like the video so that it could reach more viewers. Up till then, this is Diplo signing off.